What do you call a weapon that shoots sadness?
A Saturninator.
A bow and harrow.
Why? What's okay.
Harrow is like a harrowing feeling, like a feeling of despair.
Spell harrowing.
Harrowing.
Good job.
I people at work. I have people double my age coming to me going, "Hey, how do you spell this word?" And I'll spell it out for them.
SAWFT. Soft.
Yeah, I agree.
Shout out Enzo Amore.
I don't know who that is, but what I do know is that I want a player to recap last session for me.
It's not how this works. I always do it when nobody's prepared. Somebody else does it.
Yeah. Chris, it's your turn. You can recap your the adventure on Farhaven Island.
All right. Well, as we decided to carry out the end of combat, we found quick and efficient ways of dealing with this rogue band from our allies, only to discover that after effective case them inside of stone, we were well over our heads and way above our pay grade for dealing with what was inside of the city, as mammoth creatures from planes beyond our reckoning managed to start forming a massive circular sigil inside of the middle of the city, calling forth a creature dressed in white robes. As we made our way out of this horror-filled land and got back aboard the candelabra, we discovered ourselves aboard we discovered ourselves brought to a mysterious island that seemed to float out of nowhere. Whereupon we had left behind one of our valued party members to undergo teachings from a strange turtle monk.
Hell yeah. You basically hit all the points just to stretch out the point knees their bloodhound gnomish friend stayed behind to undergo teachings from the strange turtle as he dived forth into the waters, discovering that this island is carried by Gareth the Orange Dragon himself. The Arainaul set sail towards Blackmere. We catch up with our party. It is a 2-day journey from Farhaven to Blackmere. During this two-day journey, we find Beckett tinkering away with potions in her room. Beckett, you're muddling away, kind of drifting off into space, just kind of thinking about nothing and thinking about everything at the same time, and suddenly you're hit with an epiphany. You dig through your bag and pull out the vial of crystalline waters from the Lake of Memories from the Aether Wilds. You take out the stopper and pull out a small dropper and take a few drips of the crystalline water out, and you place it into a separate sample tube. You begin to get to work mixing a few ingredients, um, and then you surge the sample with a little bit of magic to turn it into mist. As you spritz it into the air, it smells oddly sweet. It's something you know. You stop and think for a moment, and then it hits you. It's Dad's home-cooked donuts. You you see the mist slowly drift through the air, and you swear you catch a glimpse of your childhood home. You pull out your notebook and begin to theorize, and after a while of work, you are confident that you know what the water can do. I'll give you the choice. Do you want me to send you what it is, or would you like me to say it out loud?
You can say it out loud.
Okay. This is a vial of prophetic memory. The waters of the lake of memory allows a drinker a vision to a question they seek of past, present, and future. But you also know that you have one usage of this. That's it. There's no more recreation. You don't foresee a way back to the Aether Wilds except through death.
Okay.
During this 2-day journey, is there anything else that the Arenaul will get up to aboard the Candelabra as they sail towards the city of Blackmere?
I am going to just go into my room with Peter and meditate for 8 hours. And then and then after that rest, I'm gonna just like before I rest, I would just dive into the water, and wild shaping into a dolphin, and just taking a swim around, just looking around, seeing if there's anything of note. Staying relatively close to the ship, of course, in case any danger comes around.
You, by the way, anyone damaged, you will take a long rest during this 2-day journey and heal back up to full health. Jesus, we're on episode 57, and I just forgot your character's name. What the fuck? Yonatan, you diving into the waters below, polymorphing into sorry, frog in my throat.
Permit?
You diving into the water, polymorphing into a dolphin. You take a swim around, and you're kind of you sail along the shallower end of the sea before it drops off into the deeper end of the boundless seas. Nothing too noteworthy, but as you swim around the candelabra, you just feel just a calm sensation of freedom. You take a dip and swim around for an hour or two and climb back aboard the candelabra. Anyone else get up to anything interesting or exciting?
I'd like
Caldor.
to
Go
you
ahead.
go first.
Right. I was just gonna say Caldor does a little inventory check to see how much ammo he has, and then goes to his desk and starts working on some sculptures.
What are you carving this time?
I'm going to create a sculpture of knees.
All right. Alistair.
I'd like to actually make my way below deck and knock on Beckett's door.
You hear a soft. Oh, all right, go on.
Sorry.
Beckett, when we have a few days at sea, I'd like to request a collaborative effort between the two of us for ensuring some additional profits for when we get to a market.
Okay.
I'd need you to prepare 2 spells, and if you don't mind, I'd appreciate if we maintain this arrangement as one of reasonable discretion, because I feel as though it would be rather unsavory to the members of the crew as a whole.
Okay. What do you need from me?
If you could prepare the spell Circle of Protection from Good,
Okay.
and also Dimensional Anchor. You might recall that these were some of the spells that we used with regards in the past.
Ah.
Not, I do not have any intention of playing with deific forces,
Okay.
but they are 2/3 of the spells necessary for calling up outsiders as a whole, and
Right.
that's what I intend to employ.
As long as we are not hurting anybody and we are not calling anybody who we don't really want to talk to at the moment, I am okay with that.
If I'm being honest with you, I'm still debating whether I should try calling a djinn or a lantern archon. It really depends on the materials that I have at the time when we get back onto the ship next time for a good long sail.
As long as it's not the poison or Jeshima, I'm happy.
Okay, very good. And
I'll get that done.
with that, I'll make my way back up to the deck in order to back to the helm.
I'll start preparing those spells, I guess. Well, we're sitting here.
All right,
Alrighty, it's my turn.
it's your turn.
Okay, so on the first night after what do you call it? After we leave the Dragon Island, where did we set Gwaine up? I don't know if he does much sleeping, but where did we set him up?
Gawain and Milo have taken over Milo's room. Gawain and Milo has taken over Neeza's room,
Oh yeah, I guess he's a bloodhound.
which has magically transitioned into a sort of overflow bunking with a few extra hammocks and chests for when you have guests aboard.
Okay.
But I think if you want to find him to speak to him, you'd find him meditating on the front of the ship.
Oh, good. That's where I was headed, anyways. So I'll go. From my room, I'll go knock on their room, and then I assume Milo will just kind of like direct me say that he's probably out there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then I will head out to what is that, the bow, the front? I don't know. I feel like
Yep.
that's the bow. Yeah, I'll head to the bow of ship and be like, excuse me, Gwaine.
Tobin, how can I help you?
I was hoping you could shed some light on a situation that I was recently informed about. As I understand it, you were there when they killed my grandfather.
It was a moonless night.
Can you tell me exactly what happened? Like the why and the who sent you? Like, just I just want to know what happened.
Kay was sent a vision. We acted too late, and I think we felt that we didn't want to walk away empty-handed, and so roll me a diplomacy check.
Yeah, just so you know, like I really should have mentioned it, but I plan to. I have coming out just because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to read him or anything. I have the wand in my hand to help me for skill checks.
All right.
But so that will be I have the wand, but I'm still going to use that. There we go. That's like a 38.
We were desperate, less experienced. It was a darker time back then. Safiri had a vision from his patron god Anghor. Vision of a mighty warrior. Person whom I'm looking at.
Tobin's going to kind of look at him perplexed.
You have to understand, my younger years were spent stalking the streets at night and hunting down criminals. It wasn't in a church, it wasn't. I don't consider myself a holy one. I've made mistakes. There were complications, reasons why we heralds hold resentment towards our own patrons. I'm sorry.
So both Kay and Safiri had some sort of vision that led them to Veilbridge?
Well, Ragnar had sent Kay a vision, a way we could seal Jeshua the first time.
Right.
And the reason you're still standing is because Safiri was blessed with a vision from Anghor. Even when you were an infant, Anghor respected you. And so we listened.
So is that same night that my grandfather was killed then the same night that Jeshima was sealed away for the first time?
It was within the same time period.
I just why? Like, what do you mean time period?
Within the relative few days
Oh, okay.
of that night and her being sealed.
So as I've so then my grandfather, was he trying to protect her not as the demigod of darkness but as his son's lover? Is that why he died?
He died protecting you. Tobin, we went in there with the intent to kill you.
7 o'clock. Uh, for being the spawn of Jeshima,
For bearing her heart.
right? That damn trickster. It just kind of like referring to Osiris. I wasn't sure how serious he was about that.
He kind of subconsciously strokes his ear.
um Gwen, can I ask you who did it? Who delivered the final blow?
Does knowing make you feel better?
No, I fear it'll only make me feel worse, but I can't stop myself from asking.
I think out of all the wounds we've suffered, Kay still hurts the worst. He's lost a lot.
As young and inexperienced as I am, I can see it in his eyes. They're tired. More so than even you and Safiri.
When we all awoke again as heralds, the resurrection process wasn't perfect. Everybody lost something. Tobin, I haven't slept in 500 years. Safiri can no longer taste or find nourishment.
No longer enjoys the spoils of a hunt.
Kay lost so much more when he came back. Coming back is his punishment.
How is that his punishment? How's that any more?
Kay had something he had never found in his entire existence. He felt it for a moment. Peace.
I
Could
see.
finally hang up his weapon and rests his eye for a moment, and it was ripped away from him. And he woke up to the corpse of his best friend in his arms. He's angry. He was desperate. And we can't change what happened.
Right. Tobin's gonna go to turn away, and you can see Gwen can see him kind of like wipe his hand across his face as he goes, "Good night, then."
He just doesn't respond and silently shakes his head to himself and returns to his meditative state.
Yeah, Tobin's just go back to his room and lay there staring at his ceiling until the exhaustion of the battle before eventually catches up to him, and he finds sleep, not necessarily restful sleep, but sleep nonetheless.
Does anyone else do anything during this journey, or do we find ourselves at the ports of Blackmere?
I will at one point make my way to Beckett's room.
Damn, Beckett's popular.
Beckett, the talk of the
Yeah.
town.
Everyone's
Beckett,
gonna hang out.
you hear a soft knock at your door.
Alistair?
Nope, it's me.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I got a wicked slash on my back in the last fight. Don't think it's healing too well. Do you mind stitching it up for me?
Sorry, how long ago was this?
Couple days, right?
And you're just telling me
I'll
this
say
now?
it's on the first day of your journey, and so you've
About a
just
day
been
and a
dealing
half
with
or
it from you left Farhaven to during the Island of Slumber, and then the day out. So you've been probably a day and a half, yeah.
And you're just telling me about this now? Okay.
Well, I thought it would heal faster, but I guess not.
No, things don't heal on their own. Okay, come here, sit down.
All
Start
right.
grabbing my stuff to do my stuff. Okay. I lift up the back of his shirt. I hope it doesn't bite me.
This scrape looks nasty.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, we're going.
I've taken worse. I thought it would heal like the other ones, but I guess not.
Okay. Looking at it, I want to see if I can determine whether or not I can do anything physically.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
you've dealt with injuries worse than this. This is a cakewalk. It looks nasty, but clean it, stitch it, spritz some healing potion in there to activate the white blood cells, and
Cool.
bing bang boom, and half a days of rest, and you'll be right as rain.
Cool. Next time, don't wait a day and a half. Well, I'll call you stupid, but I won't
be mad at you.
Noted.
Do not wait a day and a half next time. Please. I'm begging you.
Yeah, fair.
Any other ones I need to know about?
Are any other of the blows I took from the fight still like as bad as that one, or?
Those cuts are not as deep. A couple bruises, nothing a couple of days rest won't solve.
I
Just
think
mainly
I'm
that
good
one
for...
on your back that was really bothering you.
No, I think I'm good. I think it was just the one on the back.
Okay. If it gets worse,
Thank you.
come back, please. Holy shit.
All right. And I leave.
All right.
I'm going to stop by Tobin, ask to have a moment of his time.
Yeah, sure. Come in. I'll invite you into my room.
I need to borrow the rod for a minute. I'm working on a joint project.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm not using it.
Oh, perfect.
Fish around in my bag and not seeing it there. I'll be like, oh, right, I was using it last night, and then kind of go into the box with my armor and pull it out from there. Here.
Perfect. Delightful. All right. And I'm going to be on my way then.
All right. Good luck.
And I head over to visit Beckett.
You turn down the hallway, 2 doors down, and enter. Take a knock on Beckett's door. As Beckett hears a soft knock once again at her door. Is she at this point goes, "Oh my God, is this?"
Or Golan, I swear to God.
I do hope I'm not interrupting a event.
Oh. You know what? I just mixed you and Orgolan up a few minutes ago, but welcome back. I'll help you.
Was it that dark?
I just am very unaware of my surroundings. How can I
Oh.
help you?
I'm ready to start the ritual at your leisure.
Okay. Quick question for rules lawyers. How long do I need to prepare a spell for?
Just do it in the morning, like after a long rest. So second day you can.
Cool.
Yeah, you prepare your spells after 8 hours of rest.
Cool. I've just started preparing those spells, so I should be ready.
I mean, I
by
think we assume
probably
it's
morning
like the
time.
second day by now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll say your first conversation was on the first day, and then second conversation on the second day.
Okay. I should be ready by the morning.
Perfect. All right. When you're preparing for the dimensional anchor and the circle, I've brought along this rod. It should help keep you inspired for the spellcraft check to make sure that everything stays anchored down. We're going to
Why
need
does
it
that
inward
make me
facing.
sound nervous?
Well, think of it as additional insurance to make sure that nothing breaks free.
Oh God. Okay. Okay.
I may or may not be summoning someone up that probably won't appreciate the state of offer that I intend on providing, and so they might try to break free.
Can I ask who we're calling?
I'm hoping to call up a form of genie, so that way I can use it to summon up a whole bunch of plant-based material that we can use it for reselling. We're effectively turning into spice traders on this vessel.
Okay. Not the worst idea
But
I've heard.
it
Nice.
will at least provide us some useful funding and a good cover story in the event that we're dealing with unscrupulous forces. I was thinking about trying to bring up some pepper and nutmeg.
You know, this
Sure.
this bad boy, this candelabra, can make the Kessel run in like 12 parsecs.
Because we probably could do a lot worse than having a good cover story available at our leisure.
Yes.
It's the card all over again.
And really, who's going to argue at the fact that we have additional seasonings available for our diet?
Yes. I did not realize that genies were so violent, though, so that makes me a little nervous.
Well, I mean, just because they're not known to be violent doesn't mean that they're going to take well to the fact that throughout the entire immortal duration of their time, I'm trying to take up 4 days of their life. And yes, it is a thing of they have the entire duration of eternity, but they still probably aren't going to appreciate being pulled away if they were in the middle of doing something important like baking a souffle.
Just a little thing. If it's gonna take 4 days and you have to like actively watch it, you probably shouldn't do it now, because we've definitely got to go like talk to everybody about like what's going on sooner rather than later.
Once we begin the ritual, once we've struck a deal with them, it's fine.
Oh,
okay. But it's just a matter of until
negotiating.
until our negotiations are complete, it's a matter of them being rather more volatile. Once the terms of the arrangement are set, then they are bound to it as thoroughly as chain and steel. And then they'll be popped back to whatever plane of existence that they came from originally at the end of the 4 days of service. Or I can break them from the requirement early. But yes, so feel free to take good care of the rod and make sure to use it for all of your knowledge with regards to spellcraft when it is necessary to bind the circle.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And with that, I'll head back up to the helm for when we're ready to have the spells prepared.
So, do you plan on having this conversation now on your journey to Blackmere?
While we're still en route, yes.
Yeah. Next day, and back at probably around 10 o'clock in the morning, you hear a soft knock at your door.
If this is Alistair or O'Golan again.
I'm sorry that I'm imposing.
How can I help you?
I was wondering if we could begin the ritual.
Right. I'm gonna gather all my things and head towards my door.
Excellent. So we're going to need about a 5 foot by 5 foot circle.
Okay.
Prepared as a magic circle against good in this case.
Okay.
Where do you guys do this ritual? Are you guys planning to do it away from the party? Like you head down to the lower cargo level, or?
We could do it in my room.
Okay.
Beckett begins to prepare and cast both spells. Is there any rolling necessary involved?
There will be a spellcraft check involved in order to basically strengthen the circle. It's basically just used to make it more difficult to resist in the event of, for whatever reason, someone tripping the runes or the creature having spell resistance or trying to break free.
Does that rod give me any bonuses? I'm assuming no.
Plus 20.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Jesus. Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah.
I'll have to give that back to Tobin later.
Of course. Yeah. As much as I would love to keep this, it is Tobin. I do understand that. Okay, I got a 38 for spellcraft.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It strengthens the circle of good and anchors the anchor.
All right.
Or
I'm going to charge a temporary wand of from the demonologist spell list, planar binding, allowing creatures up to, I believe it's 10 hit die to be summoned. I'm just going to use it for a 7 hit die Jinn. And to do that, I'm going to need to make...
think genie, but more realistic.
Caster-
It's basically a djinn.
Uh,
As in more realistic, as in like strong magic being, not nice blue dude that helps out Aladdin.
I'm going to need to make a quick UMD check to make sure that I succeed in creating a spell storing wand. And with my use magic device check, that brings 18, 19. That is a 35, so that should work.
Yeah, that will absolutely work.
I'm going to then go ahead and try to cast the spell in order to summon with planar binding the poor Jinn into my circle. So that is an 11 plus 17 plus 2 plus 2. Yeah, that should be a 32. So that should work.
And you're casting this from a wand?
Yes. A
Ye-
caster level 4 demonologist spell list.
Yeah, you wave the wand and mutter in some incantations as you see a kind of a lime green gaseous air begin to emit from the tip of the wand as it flows into the circle of protection from good and takes form of kind of like a plump lime green ghostly woman with like flowing magenta hair that's kind of just flowing to nowhere from nothing. As she's got plump, like really plump cheeks with like a reddish hue. She kind of takes form, spatula in hand, as she goes, "Oh my!"
Good morning, ma'am.
What has happened? I was
I'm-
making an omelet. Who calls me at this hour?
Well, tragic. I'm afraid that the omelet is going to be a lesser concern. I'm here to let you know that I've called upon your aid for about 4 days.
4 days? I have my book reading this week.
Well, I do
Just
apologize.
a ball anyways. Who are you? Why should I help you?
My name is Alistair Greycliffe, and I'm afraid that at this time, the only concern that we truly have is that you will be serving me in the production of assorted vegetable matter for the next 4 days. If
Serving you vegetables? What?
Well, I am not opposed to the additional meal, but no, I'm quite interested inside of your skills as a djinn, specifically the ones of being able to uh, create matter in the form of assorted plants and other creatures or other specimens.
Well, I am known to grow a few roses in my time.
Yes. Well, in this time, I am more interested inside of the ability for you to conjure for me spices and other such matters of trade goods.
Spices? Why,
Oh yes.
I haven't got the time.
Well, I'm afraid that currently, as you'll find, the circle, you are entirely unable to escape. And feel free to try to plane shift your way out, but I think that there'll be a little bit of an issue with regards to the dimensional anchor that we set down. So you have a choice. You can heed my request, and we can make this entirely a much more pleasant matter, or you can simply sit there bored for the next 4 days with a circle. Would you
Well,
like
that
to?
isn't very nice. Could you make me an
I
intimidation check?
actually, believe it or not, this argument is handled inside of the rules as a post charisma check.
I don't know. Your words sound a little bit more threatening and less dealy. So I think I would pin it under an intimidation check. But I would give it to you for advantage because you're in a position of power over the genie.
Okay.
So
Then
I will give you intimidation with advantage.
all right. Okay, that is an 18 on my part.
Well, that isn't very nice.
I'm afraid that of the
Could there
greater
be
good.
a return of investment on my efforts?
What kind of return of investment are you interested in?
Willing to make a deal, are we? Well, you didn't have to come
I'm,
in threatening me in the conversation. Now I'm less willing to help you.
I'm willing to listen, but I do not guarantee that I will follow blindly any deal that is going to come up, especially if it works against my end goals.
No, then I won't do it.
Well, very well then. You can stay in there for the next 4 days of boredom.
For
But I guarantee you
4
that
days.
that egg is going to be inside of quite the shape, assuming that, you have no particular care about going back to your home plane in order to keep your home from burning down. But, it's up to you.
Well, it seems that you're the one providing the spice in this conversation.
Do we have a deal? Oh my, I'm sure that egg is getting quite dark by now.
Fine, fine. Have your
Delightful.
spice.
Very good. Then, for the first day, all that will require is your ability to conjure up 7 cubic feet of nutmeg. And after that, you can certainly feel free to plane shift home as long as you return back tomorrow.
You're not a nice person.
I am a businessman. I make deals.
This might be a little bit more like extortion, but that's okay.
Actually, it's more like legalized magical slavery, but that's neither here nor there.
Legalized?
Is it?
Ain't no law on the sea. We're in international waters, baby.
Fine.
Delightful.
Let me go home and finish my egg first.
Very well.
That is my deal.
Very well.
And 30 seconds later. All right. What do you want?
7 cubic feet of nutmeg, and that's the end of it for today.
Here?
I understand that
No?
you're capable of producing 7 cubic feet of any vegetable matter permanently, as per major creation. And I'm only interested inside of the ability to conjure some spice at this time. So, as soon as that, you're done for the day.
Fine. Snaps the finger as you see the wood of the deck begin to grow small plants on it as branches kind of grow out for a moment as it kind of goes through like a rapid pace of maturing process as the plants fade away as the readied spice falls to the ground and covers the floor in the needed spice.
Magnificent. Lovely working with you, madam. I shall see you tomorrow, I hope.
Oh, this feels like having a job.
Tragic. Immortal beings that are completely incapable of having a job for 4 days out of an immortal eternity.
This is morally unethical.
And this is why I called upon your assistance for the discretion.
Becca's just standing in the corner, just like trying not to laugh.
Certainly, feel free to take a fair share of the goods from this endeavor. I'm sure that it will be a lovely arrangement for the next few days, and take your cut.
Wow. Yeah, I was not expecting that one, guys.
That happened.
Nutmeg! Nutmeg!
I was debating on walking in and going, "Oh, do I get 3 wishes too?" Just to be a dick.
I
Oh.
would like to do something as well.
Alright, this is the last thing, and then you guys make it a important.
I'm gonna have a go conversation with our boy Milo.
You walk towards the formerly Nisa's chamber, now the nameplate on it says guest room. As you knock on it. What?
Hi, buddy. How's it going?
It was better a few minutes ago. Hi.
Can I come in?
You're already there, I guess.
Jonathan just kind of shyly and gingerly opens the door, steps in, and then immediately shuts it. Hey, man. I just wanted to check in on you and see how you're holding up. I know it's been a rough couple of days for you, given everything that's happened on Farhaven.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me. What do you want?
I'm just checking in on my buddy. I mean, we're working together, right? Teammates got to be there for each other.
Look, Yamaton, I don't... Oh, be nice, be nice, be nice. I don't... I don't want to hear about fucking teammates right now, dude. Can you just leave me alone?
How about no? Come on. Let's go for a walk on the deck. It'll be fun.
No, I'm doing stuff.
What kind of stuff?
Dude, Milo's gonna smite this guy.
You sound like Kay. I'm doing me stuff. I'm writing my journal.
Oh, okay. Well, why didn't you say so?
Don't tell Beckett. She thinks I'm cool.
Can I do? Can I sense motive? I'd
Yeah,
like to
go for
sense
it.
motive. Bonsoir, nat 20, baby.
What?
Let's go.
What a waste! You really didn't need a sense motive for that. Fun
Yeah,
nonetheless.
he's so honest and genuine right now. That is like the one moment he's ever let his guard down in any conversation that he's had with your group. It was that one sentence before he tightens back up and goes, "So can you?"
Yeah, of course, man. Your secret's safe with me. I
Don't say fucking secret. It makes it sound weird.
I
Just
see
go
Yamaton
away.
running
Yeah.
down the hallway like a schoolboy, just running towards Beckett's room.
It doesn't have to be weird if you don't want it to be. You know, like half mechanical or full mechanical or not. I mean, I think you're a pretty cool dude, and I'm pretty lucky to have you along on my journey. So, you know, I feel like getting to know you a bit more would be good for both of us.
Thanks.
And like not being assholes to each other.
From the deck, Tobin's gonna peek his just open the door down to like the downstairs hall and be like, Blackbeard or Black Mirror ahoy!
Well, seems I have to go and operate the sails now. So tell you what, I am gonna go, and then you can talk to me or whatever you want anytime.
This is hilarious.
How does that sound?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Good talk, as he's kind of during this conversation just kind of shuffling you out of the door, and he says, "Good talk," and just kind of closes the door on you.
Jonathan just gonna shout, Peter says hi, by the way.
Jonathan, sails!
I'm on it.
Sail.
Give me a second.
Sam.
As Jonathan is just gonna freaking bolt up the stairs and go man the sails.
Gotta wrap those things up. Don't want to crash into the port.
Which is where we're gonna call our first breakfast session.
Okay. Dude, I thought for sure Milo was gonna stab him for a bit, and then that was a great. You did great.
That was amazing.
We'll see soon.
Is
It's not
that our
over.
first like actual role play session where everyone is actually like involved in something?
I know.
Yeah.
Like I know I wanted
It
to
is.
I
do
think
talk
that
to Gwen
is.
right away, but
And
you
it only
guys,
took almost 60 fucking episodes.
you guys all came up with something to do, and that's great.
It was
I'm-
awesome. You
I
guys are
mean,
incredible.
Mine was the most minor, but I
Meme
still
of the
did
week right
something.
there.
But you still did something.
But it was
did.
good.
Yeah,
It
like
was
you
good,
took
and
that
it was
effort.
literally your character to a fucking T.
Yeah. That
A day later,
all the
begrudgingly
reaction
going to the one person you're not a huge fan of in the group to be like, I'm in pain, ow.
Help.
Like, that was great. That was hilarious.
I couldn't walk this one off, Doc.
That genie thing was way out of left field.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know.
But
Sorry? Extraplanar slave trade?
that was fun.
Now we see how Greycliff Industries acquired its wealth.
Well, like
Oh,
I said,
God, yeah.
it can produce any plant material.
You see,
Like
we have a good amount of
Suri,
money now, but that's because we
wood.
saved the emperor. You just slave trade fucking genies.
For 4 days, out of a literal eternity.
Yeah. All right. I will call the break. I will actually pause it now. That was all funny, so I'm leaving that in.
Amazing. When is the color red in the past tense? While you're reading it.
That's what I was literally gonna say when you read it. You didn't even give me a chance. I was so close to greatness. And you stole it from me. You swooped the rug right out from under me. And now nobody will ever believe me.
I guess
I
West.
can show you the floor.
Hey James, I guess West stole your thunder wave.
Eh. Valiant effort.
The candelabra is slowly guided through the fog into the port of Blackmere. You all feel a sigh of relief seeing the bubbling arcane town of Blackmere, a place you and your friends have found refuge like so many other mages. The downtown itself, like a magical multicultural mall. The street is full of people of all shapes and sizes shopping at all kinds of exotic magic stores, apothecaries, pet stores, weapons, and armories of all types. As you guys offload off of the candelabra and it into its bottle, make your way into the town. The air feels different. People look at you not as an anomaly, but with welcoming smiles. Tobin's new armor even catches a few eyes. As you begin to turn down and make your way down the main strip, you see a familiar half-elf in a beige tunic and a sun hat. You see Mr. Manning, the postman, smiling as he makes eye contact with you and approaches. Hello again. I got another letter for you. I'm looking for Mr. Greycliff.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Manning hands you a small letter. Well, lovely to see you again. Cheerio. Just walks his way off through the crowd and disappears among the many people crowding the streets. Alistair, as you look upon the letter, in big bold text, you see the acronym RAID, RAIDE Limited, which Alistair knows to be the Royal Automation Industries of the Darian Empire. A bright red wax seal is on the back of the envelope, bearing the new Darian royal stamp, which can only be found on mail of high importance to the crown and country.
Old engineering matters, I'm sure.
Dear Alistair Greycliffe of Greycliffe Industries, greetings. I hope this letter finds you well. I am writing on behalf of the Royal Automation Industries of the Darian Empire. I am writing in regard to the matrix you developed in our Generation 2 Titan mechs, employed in our Darian Vanguardian forces. We've had a few incidents, and our engineers and technicians cannot debug the issue. To be more specific, as you know, the mechs are operated by the pilots, only using the matrix to keep all the systems running properly. The mechs seem to be acting on their own accord and lashing out against our pilots, engineers, and civilians. And our diagnostic found that it could be caused by a malfunction in the matrix. If you could find time in your schedule to help us, we could be found in Western Eris in the Raid Plant Building 4. Many thanks, Elis Finnegan, head engineer at Raid Limited. And then at the bottom, there's a small banner that says, Raid Limited is a division of the Hatchco family.
Consulting gig!
Nice.
Dude, where?
Raid Industries, part of Hatchco.
Oh,
They're contacting me because of old engineering design that I did when I was barely out of school. I did a little bit of side work that way, and I created a form of power system for them. And it seems as though now there's some question in regards to its consistent use.
wait, what exactly did you design for them?
Basically a power drive for a large mechanical structure for operations of individual pilots.
Oh.
Basically, think a pilotable golem.
Oh, I see. And what's happening with them? What's wrong with them?
Well, it's as though maybe they've lost my initial specifications that I wrote out, or maybe they've altered the matrix in some way, but I have a feeling that they've realized that the matrix that I'm using is running on elementals. I mean, most of them are fairly low elementals. They're like the equivalent of like a elemental squirrel, but some of the larger models I might have given a little bit more oomph to, and now
So what? They're
they're
malfunctioning?
yeah, they're displaying sentience and acting up.
Well, well, that.
I mean, it's the same with, like, for example, clay golems. They eventually go nuts. Same with flesh golems.
mean-
They eventually go nuts.
Are we sure that doesn't have anything to do with what we saw with the sanguiscythes? How they were being controlled by what's his fucking name? Someone help me out here. Big old blood god.
Well, the sanguiscythes were made by the Forge Master.
Well, I just think it's an odd coincidence that these things start. Like, I'm sure you understand the engineering better than I do, but I just find it odd that they seem to be malfunctioning right after we see the sanguiscythes being controlled by the dude.
Volnar.
That's the one. That's the one. I knew it started with the
Come
V,
on,
but
guys. I stayed
no.
silent. I was hoping one of you
I know.
could answer.
Because I just kept thinking Valdenoid because like or like
Yeah.
Valdoon, and I couldn't. I knew it was wrong. I knew that was the race of Calduin's people's like kind of descendants. I just
Talking
couldn't.
to the other you guys.
Yeah.
Tisk.
Anyways, just seems odd.
Oh, well. I mean, it's something that we can hypothesize all day until eventually I get around to visiting and seeing if I can get to the root of it.
Right.
Like I said, an engineering design that I did when I barely left the academies.
I see.
I'm amazed that they haven't actually upgraded or altered it to something more applicable. I mean, it's been years.
Tobin's gonna chuckle. Just like it's the government. They're not gonna replace it if it works. Doesn't matter how dated it is. Anyways, we should probably make our way to the manor.
All right.
Unless anybody has any business in town.
I do need some steel at some point, but that can be another day.
All right. Yeah, we'll start headed towards the manor, I guess then.
Yeah. You gonna walk your way down the main strip towards the Vampire Hill Manor. You pass by your old friend's shop, Creaky's Cranky Dinks. As unfortunately, the urgency of your matter kind of overcame your need to go and stop in. But as you look towards the shop, you see all the lights are off.
That's odd. It doesn't
Um,
seem like Kiriki's open, which is it's always open.
You stop for a moment to inspect it. You see in big arcane lettering, you see closed on the written on the window. You see a piece of parchment on the door.
Oh,
It says, "Closed for now. Apologies, Mr. Kariki."
I hope he's all right.
I owed him some thanks for the for the bracer.
Yeah,
Been very serviceable.
definitely. Well, hopefully next time we're here, he'll be in and we can chat with him.
You all head towards the Vampire Hill Manor on the far side of the island, burdened with the somewhat heavy news that you were delivering to Kay on the unfortunate circumstance that you could not retrieve his blood hounds. You walk down the forest road and through the small ghost town of Graveyard and up towards the Vampire Hill Manor on the top of the hill. You step onto the porch and see the large set of double doors swung wide open, with a note posted on the door saying for guests to make their way towards the Great Hall.
Self-service entrance.
And
Shall we?
was it was already open when we got there, or like it swung right open?
Yeah, the
Okay.
door was already already wide open with a note saying to go to the Great Hall.
Well, I suppose we know where to go. I guess we'll make our way to the Great Hall.
You walk down a few hallways towards the set of double doors that leads to the Great Hall. You press them open, and as it leads into the familiar grand chamber with the set of balconies overhead, the large slim dining table running up the center of the room with dining chairs surrounding it. The table is filled with delicious smelling foods and wines and breads and cheeses and all the home cooked meals you've missed over the several days of rations that you've been eating. Sitting at the head of the table is the familiar catfolk K, wearing his lore keeper robe over his leather jacket. Next to him on the left is Vidale, wearing a kind of a tight-fitting white dress with gold trimming, with her lore keeper robe over top of that. Beside her is a small gnome man in a pale purple suit. You see Mr. Kuriki sits happily drinking wine and chatting to Vidale and Kay. To Kay's right, you see the blood-stained white dogfolk Safiri wearing a leather vest. See his hammer is leaning beside his chair. As seeing the door swing open, Kay leaps from his chair and smiles, but as you all file in, it fades. Gwaine slowly closing the door behind you. Kay sinks back into his chair and buries his head into his hands. Vidal leans forward and rubs his back and whispers in his ear as she stands up and approaches your group. Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? She smiles softly. 'Tis good to see you all reunited once more. Sir Gwaine, it is an honor, as always. The honor is all mine, Lady of the Light. Gwaine bows. Now for the formalities. Are you okay? Come, sit, eat. Tell us everything. She waves you towards the table. First, Gwaine kind of ushers Kay towards Vidale. First, I need you to check on our friend to make sure he's going to be all right. Hearing Milo's name, Kay's head perks up. You see he sits back in his chair and takes a deep breath and puts on a smile as he stands. Hey, guys. It's good to see you again.
Likewise.
Pleasure.
Enough with
Always a
the
pleasure.
enough with the jabber. We have much to discuss. Fear growls. Patience. You must welcome our guests and make sure they're well fed. Sit, eat, have a bite. So I'll file your way towards the table.
Yeah. When Tobin sits down, despite all the food around, he'll just kind of absent-mindedly chew on a few pieces of Sanskrit.
You and Calduin sit next to each other as he kind of discreetly hands you a few strips of dried Sanskrit as you munch away at it. Well, Safiri is brash, but he has a point. We have much to talk about. You see Kay sprinkle golden dust into his pipe and light it. You see Gwaine take a seat next to Safiri. Old friend? Gwaine. You see, as you all enter the room, you see Mr. Kuriki kind of look around excitedly and then kind of shrink into his seat a little bit with a worried expression on his face.
Noticing that, I'll kind of like Pico. He's Knees is safe, but he's not with us anymore. Well, it will all be explained.
Okay, takes a puff of his pipe. Well, let's start with an easy one. Calduin, it's good to see you again.
I just nod.
What was that?
He just nods.
Oh, okay.
Where did you go? What happened? We couldn't scry on you or anything.
I was taken to some island that was my real home, the birthplace of my people. Everything's still a little hazy. I wasn't treated well.
It,
What happened when you guys entered the island? If we lost any track of you as soon as you entered that storm.
it turns out the storm is a form of anti-scrying barrier, as they didn't want anybody to know what they were up to in there. And
And
Tobin just kind of like staring at the table as he's saying this.
I would advise against travel by sea. Unless you're particularly fond of really large calamari.
Who's they?
Well, they call themselves the Vainglorious.
X.
The Vainglorious X.
It's everybody you could hope it wouldn't be. Did we ever like catch Arrowim's name, or did we just like see him as this dude here?
You might have caught his name.
Okay. Well, Zodak, naturally. Chandra, was that the red dragon?
Yep.
And was it Lazarus, the other one?
Yep.
Lazarus. Volnar himself.
Who? Yeah, you see Gwaine lean forward and stroke his blonde beard.
It was him who asked who?
Yeah.
A god more ancient than even the three that you all serve. As I kind of look at the three of the heralds, but not meeting any of their eyes. Supposedly some sort of blood god. Can't say we know the most about him, but that's what we were told. Okay, who am I missing? I got Chandra, Zodak, Volnar.
You got the dragons, you got Volnar, you're just missing Volnar's heretics.
Yeah. Then, as the blood god, he himself has not the same as you. What do we call them? What the fuck's their name? They're the good version of heretics.
Heralds.
Heralds. Rather than heralds, heretics. 666. They the poison, the Solomon, that was his name, right? Yeah. And a another blood hunter named Arrowim. I can't hear you.
They did.
You see K's whole body kind of tense when you say that name. Gwaine strokes the symbol of Palor on his chest. Volnar is worrying. I was not aware there was another god.
Not to mention.
Go on.
Yeah. Not to mention that bastard necromancer Amarath as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I forgot you mentioned he turned.
They sat us down and tried to strike some sort of deal with us. They wanted to offer us the power to kill a god in exchange for one of our souls after death, as well as helping them essentially overthrow the current gods and take power for themselves. It seems that's their plan.
You see, Kay places pipe down on the table as he reaches up towards the gold earring on his one fully intact ear. As he takes the pin out, and as he holds the ring in his hand, it grows to a full-size, almost Viking helmet made entirely of gold. You see, on the front, it has like scales carved in front. As he places it down on the table next to him, he scratches the back of his head. I've had my suspicions of another god. I've heard rumors. Asherati scripts speak of a god bathed in blood. In the scriptures, he's often known as Futya. Usually it's translated to artist, but I think in this case it's translated to creator.
Kay was the one who told us about him, right? Like about Volnar, wasn't he?
He
Like-
mentioned a little bit, but he didn't know much.
Oh, okay. Like, and not knowing obviously that he was like alive, just like that's who they
Yeah.
could have been referencing. Okay.
How do you spell the blood god's name?
The Volnar, Vulnar.
Oh, like the hidden god in the Asherati script.
He's often referred to as Futya, FHU with the 2 dots on top, T apostrophe YA.
Apostrophe YA. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Usually translated to artist, but in this case translated to creator. Ancient Asherati speak of a realm of red sand. The Sundering Wastes, they called it. I believe it to be Volnar's domain. Before the other gods betrayed him in the early days of the Draconic Civil War and the First Convergence.
Jeez. Another realm.
I believe the Asherati to be a secret 5th Eldar race to have existed before the Boundless Shores have formed.
Suppose that would make sense. But we were nearly forced into this deal, but Osiris came blasting in at the last minute and pulled us out while we were busy arguing over if we were forced to take their deal, who would carry the burden of giving their soul. Luckily, we were not forced to make a call like that.
Well, I do have an explosive personality. You hear a voice call from the balconies above.
With the accent again?
As you see the now glowing blue form of Osiris kind of drift his hand, his finger gracefully along the railing as he leans upon it. Hello. Okay. Good to see you again. Dwayne, do you need me to speak up? As his form kind of shifts through the railing as it kind of gracefully floats down to the floor below, as he pulls out a chair and sits at the table. Sorry, Tobin, I interrupted you. Continue. Telling them how I dashingly saved you. Kind of mockingly waves his hand like a fan.
And Tobin's gonna kind of like pick someone's hand. Kind of, he's like, no, that was about it. And I guess he came with us on a boat ride for a bit. And then we decided to make our way to the Farhaven Isles to see what was going on there. When we arrived there, the port town was deserted. Scarce for a few of those shadow creatures, like the ones we ran into in Lulara. But then we found the bloodhounds, and we were able to subdue all but one of them before.
Kind of cocks his head inquisitively as he doesn't quite understand what you mean subdue.
We already called them on the sending. Or who's cocking their head?
Okay.
We called them on the sending stone. We told them about that.
Did you?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I made the call myself.
All right. Sorry, I forgot about that. Never mind. He kind of nods his head and understanding.
But then we ran into Gwen, and Milo was with him. But then something happened. I'm not even really sure how to describe what exactly it was. We were hiding out when in the center of town there was a sudden commotion, and when we looked out to see, there were. So were they the retrievers that like did this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those were the
Okay.
3 retrievers that were sent to the Boundless Shores.
The retrievers that were released from wherever the hell were making this giant sort of spell circle of some sort, not any runes I recognized, and seemed to open some sort of portal where a man, and someone's gonna say it was no man, in white robes and a void black face, came out with the most fear-inspiring presence I have ever felt. Before we were forced to flee, and we didn't have time to grab the subdued bloodhounds. We only know for sure that, what was her name? The one that died.
The one that fireballed herself.
Oh, Ari.
We only know for sure that Ari died, but we cannot speak for certain on the fate of the rest of the bloodhounds. And then
They were
we
captured cells of my creation. I am the one to take fault, if anyone here.
Let's see. Kay sighs and tries to find words to say. So Vidal speaks up and she says, "If I had access to the tear, maybe I could do something." You see, Safiri lean forward and kind of kind of flexes himself a little bit in confidence. "We could try and receive it. My boys have been itching for a hunt."
Certainly could try, but unfortunately, at our time there, we didn't hear any word of what fate or where the tier is now. I'm not sure what
Isn't
happened
it
to it
obvious?
after Amarath used it to revive Zodak.
Well, if Amarath used it to revive Zodak, then it would probably be a reasonable assumption to assume that the tier probably, or what's left of the tier, probably resides within Zodak as well.
Turn to Vidal and be like, is that how you would assume it works? It's not how.
I only managed to scratch the surface of his capabilities, but in the hands of a capable user, I don't think it would have been consumed.
I see. So the tier could still be in Amarath's hand, or rather, Volnar's, assuming he was doing it under his orders.
No. You see Kay put down his you see Kay put down his wine glass. He looks forward at all of you, a serious look in his eye. We struck first. It is our opponent's turn to move. We must stay vigilant. No more wild goose chases.
What do
We
you
know
suggest?
we know Volnar's motive, but we do not know his plan. You see Gawain scratches his beard. We also know that the Evodoc has taken Farhaven Island, which may mean that Jeshima might be empowered by his presence. We must be aware of our enemy's base of operations. From what I hear, moving upon the island of Eker seems like a death sentence.
Yeah. Will Jeshima be able to escape the... Would she even be able to escape the tower without her heart?
I do not know.
She once we once asked her a favor, and in return she asked for some of my blood. And in light of new information, I understand why that is. I did not give her blood, but it seems hopefully she's stuck there fairly well without access to her heart.
I hope, for all our sakes, that is true.
Could it be at all possible that it's not necessarily her blood that she needs? Could it be at all possible that they're rounding up folk to sacrifice so that the darkness, the Everdark, can grow stronger, and therefore the heirs of darkness?
Where is this information coming from? What have you heard of sacrifice rituals for the darkness to gain power?
I haven't heard of anything. It's pure speculation, but at this point, I would consider anything to be possible.
Well, your theory has some truth to it. Her agents, her shadlings, they call them, they were once mortals like you, drawn to the ambition of power. They pleaded Jeshima to grow stronger, to gain a fraction of her power in trade of her souls, and slowly the humanity drained. And
Yes, that
I
explains
think,
the desiccated hearts in their chests.
and Could also explain the shadows of the Everdark reproducing and killing civilians and creating more shadows.
Mm. Are you saying that that's Jeshima's power, or because
I
she
think
comes
that
from the
might be the
Everdark?
Everdark's power. Her power, main power source is the Everdark.
Yeah, that's
which
what I was
brings
saying.
my fear of her being empowered by his presence
Right.
now in the Boundless Shores.
I see. Well, then we must just hope the her tower keeps her at bay long enough for us to do whatever it is we do.
After remaining quiet for most of the meeting, Mr. Kiriki clears his throat. Fortunately, we may have a lead that may allow us to prevent a disaster before it happens.
A lead on what?
Kay nods towards Kiriki and says, "Thank you. There has been chatter of strange happenings in Arist. Telltale signs of an Everdark incursions like the ones we've experienced."
Hold on. What's Alistair? Didn't you say that's where the raid base is?
I open up my letter again to double check.
Yeah,
It
it's
appears
an
to
Arist.
be.
So it seems one thing I may have failed to mention is it seems that Volnar was using some sort of Iker, whatever, to control these metallic beings called sanguicides, and Alistair just received a letter that another form of automation he was working on in Arist seems to be going berserk, and I theorized that it may have been related, but maybe that could hold even more true now that we know there's some sort of dark activity happening there. But although Volnar and obviously the darkness are separate, it's hard to say if they could end up doing something in the same space. I don't know.
You see a purple mage hand float from behind Mr. Kiriki carrying a small metal device attached to an arm bracer. See, two larger gems are placed on the sides of the interface, with four smaller gems are placed in the center, arranged in a diamond. Like boom, 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 boom. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit primitive, unfortunately. I was hoping maybe, Alistair, you could tinker with it. This is what I've titled a rift detector. The four gems act as an indicator for the direction, and they'll flash within 60 when you're within 60 feet of a rift. Not exactly straightforward, but it's what I could whip up in the short amount of time that I had. She hands the rift detector across the table towards Alistair.
Well, thank you very much. I'll see if I can improve on the design as we go in order to make it the more precise as we go, but this will at least be a great step inside the right direction. Thank you.
It'll at least give you a start, and that's all we could ask for in this time of uncertainty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now you see Kay kind of scrapes something out of his pipe as he sprinkles a little bit more gold dust into his pipe and lights it. On a less cosmic note, Emperor Killian and Queen Ravana have come to an accord. A bridge is to be built across the ocean between Veilbridge and New Daria. which means free trade routes between nations and semi-open borders. This is the biggest political agreement since the Blackwater Import-Export Agreement. In any other time, it would be cause for celebration, but I have a harrowing feeling that something else may be at work. I'll give you one guess on which umbrella company owns all the building companies employed for the construction.
I already know it's Hachiko.
Of course.
We've spoken with, or we've overheard some conversations about the potential of this happening and the lobbying behind it already. Can't pretend to understand what the fuck's his name. You can't get. I can't remember his name. Hachiko guy.
Silas.
Silas.
Mr. Vondes.
Can't imagine to understand Silas's motives, but it seems he's wanted this for quite a while.
But that's where the paradox lies, is that his company is the biggest shipping company in the world, and so having open trade routes between the two biggest nations is take a big cut out of his company.
So Silas has some sort of ulterior motive for the open trade route, clearly.
Well, naturally.
And would you want to tell them about what transpired as we landed here, Alistair? Or?
What?
Well, might as well. I'll go ahead, pull out the letter, and put it out on the table for all to read.
You present the letter as they all take the time to read it over. That's quite concerning. Well, seems like we know your party's next destination.
Whether we like it or not, we're gonna have to go solve that mech problem. I need to go get prepared, so if you'll excuse me as I walk out and try to find somewhere quiet to prepare for the journey ahead.
All of you have rooms prepared for the evening. You showed up by you're led up to your rooms by the limited amount of bloodhound agents you've seen in the building. Everyone chooses to call an early night. Yada and Owl head out of the grand dining room, sure, and are left to their own devices, as we're gonna call another break.
Another one. Okay.
Another one.
Everyone follows.
The Ade Naul taking the remainder of the day to rest and prepare themselves for the adventure ahead. Calduin wanders his way towards Kay's study as he knocks on the door. Kay from inside. It's open.
Apologies for the intrusion, Master K, but I've come to ask a favor.
Of course, anything.
With the increasing danger that is approaching, I'm hoping you can pull some strings. I want to be there to protect those around me. I want to protect my family, and I move the duster to show the almost torn up leather vest that I'm wearing. I don't think this is going to cut it.
Well, Calduin, I'm so glad you asked. I forgot to mention, I have a surprise for you. I have 2 surprises for you. Come, follow me to the training grounds for a moment. You make your way out towards the rear exit of the Vampire Manor to the large stadium built in the back for the training grounds. You expressed interest in a certain artifact that you were not able to retrieve yourself. Well, what was the term you used? Pulled some strings and, well, and kind of lifts his arm up and reveals the large 15-foot Oshrati statue overlooking the training grounds.
A tear wells in Calduin's eyes. Thank you so much.
And, well, I might have an answer to your question. I got a little gift for you. I talked to a few blacksmiths I know. Real talented guy out in Scorchtown. Here. He goes out towards one of the chests out near the training ground and pulls out a breastplate of armor. It's not much. It's it's not really enchanted, but it'll give you a good start.
Anything to protect my family. Thank you.
Yeah, well, they accidentally sent an extra set. If you want to give it to someone else. I don't know. It's not really my style. I don't like the color.
I appreciate it.
Of course, anything. Go get some sleep. You need it. After you need a fucking warm bed. You want
But I
some
can agree with.
want some glimmer?
You know, I
No.
don't touch the stuff.
Hey. Everybody needs a taste of home for a while. Just one night. Relax. I won't tell anybody.
I'm going to keep my mind clear.
Peer pressure, peer pressure.
Well, if you insist, but if you ever want it, he hands you just a small little leather bag. You ever just want to taste of home just for a minute? Sprinkle it on some toast or something and, set an afternoon for yourself. It really grounds you. But I understand for now you have a mission, you have a motive, you have a goal. It's okay to relax once in a while. You know that, right?
I'm getting there.
I know. I'd like to commission an art piece.
What do you have in mind?
He kind of chuckles for a moment and he goes, I don't know. Surprise me.
I got just the thing.
You do so much for your family. Don't be so reserved with them. You have a soft soul inside. You don't need drugs to let yourself loose once in a while. You can even just, bare your heart to your friends once in a while.
So listen, I'm slowly starting to learn.
I'm proud of you.
And I give a small bow and head back to my room.
Nods and just takes a few moments outside as you walk back towards the manor, as you see him looking up towards the statue and down towards the training grounds, just taking his moment.
As I walk back to my room, is Beckett's room on the way to mine?
Yeah.
I knock on the door and just leave the extra set against it as I head into the room.
Alice, Roland, I swear to God.
A bubonic also squawks, "What the fuck?"
If no one comes in, I'm just gonna walk up to the door and see what the fuck that was.
Alistair, you made the armor, technically. Well, Chris, you made the armor technically. Would you like to go ahead and describe what this armor looks like?
It is a immaculately formed mithril chain shirt that is made out of links so fine that it's almost as though it would flow like water as it rolls against any surface, clinging to whatever lies behind it. It's clearly meant to maximize as much mobility involved as possible while still being nigh impenetrable to most forces that would act on it. There's also a set of vambraces that are meant to cover the forearms, and finally, along with the chain link or the chain armor, there's also what looks like a further external set of padding. It's a very exotic addition to it, but it looks as though it's meant that the outermost layer are meant to take the impacted blows of heavy blunt damage, and meanwhile your chain is meant to take up any of the damage from slashing. It's as incredibly light as you could imagine, though, and it almost seems to grant you greater focus as you start to wear individual segments.
I'm gonna take off my leather coat, put it all on, and then put my leather coat on top because Beckett does like the leather coat vibe, but she still wants the armor. So,
Gotta have the aesthetic.
oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, I think with that, Calduin and Beckett share the same mind because Calduin's still wearing his duster jacket
Wait,
with it under.
Wait, is that like an actual thing or like?
Yeah, so like the Renegade outfit where it has like the really long coat.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. Calduin looks like a cowboy.
Believe it or
Oh,
not,
so-
there is brown coat armor inside of 3.5 officially.
All right. Here's my homework for all of you next week. Instead of me announcing the order, I will announce the order. But then, as I announce your name, you're gonna give me a brief description of what your character looks like. I'd like you to take some time and write a little bit of it out. Spark
type it
notes.
down?
Type it out, write it out, do whatever you need to do. Don't do it on the fly. Take some time and really think about what your character looks like, what they're wearing, what their face looks like,
That's practically all in my backstory already.
how they carry themselves.
Well, like
that
even
kind
like
of
an
thing. You
update.
know, it was something
Yeah.
brief, something quick. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy, but you know, your characters have undergone a lot of changes now. You know, from the beginning. I listened back to the first episode. Wow, we've changed a lot from the first episode.
Oh yeah.
Beckett's been traumatized.
Yeah, I've gotten better from the first episode, which is cool. Yeah, something brief, something quick, just a brief description of what your character looks like. You know, take some time. Doesn't need to be too much. But yeah, that's your homework for next week. As the Edi Naul all head to bed early, finally feeling safe after traversing deep within their enemy's territory. Finding sleep within the Vampire Hill Manor, all members of the Edi Naul share a dream, even though they are not aware that they are sharing it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Dream opens in a vast temple. Statues of the Celestials are carved into the pillars. The floor is a beautiful collage of colors: white, gold, green, magenta, teal, dark blue, and silvery gray. A beautiful mural of the Draconic Civil War is painted on the domed roof. Gods versus gods, dragons betraying their brethren, destruction upon the realms. And finally, the gods defeating their father and banishing him to his darkness. A large throne with scales. Brain just went. A large throne with scales carved into the back sits on the far side of the temple, with two smaller thrones beneath it on the right and left. You see 6 humanoid figures near the throne in a heated discussion. The mortals have stakes in this fight. We do not. You see Anghor before the throne of Ragnar's temple. Confident are we? You see Ragnar sneers, sitting upon his throne, the scales just carved over his head. Brothers, please, see Pelor turning towards the others. Stakes, Anghor? These are our creations. They are being divided and destroyed. They are violent, weak creatures. They crave to rule and to be ruled. The heretic god's power runs deep. Volnar breeds their violence, and the Father fuels their fear, Anghor says coldly. Pelor sighs sadly and puts a hand on the war god's shoulder. Anghor, you know the cycle of the harvest. The field is purged of weeds, seeds are sown, and when those have matured, they are picked and used to feed the nation. Then, after winter and the weeds have grown back, the field is once again tilled and purged of weeds. You know very well that it is in their nature, as it is in yours. Gentlemen, please hear my cry. Varus, taking the form of Yonatan's druidic tree, begs the 3 gods. They are outnumbered, and against impossible odds. 'Tis our duty. The purple dragonborn form of Arcanos, the golden staff of his other head, clasped in his claw, sits on the throne to Ragnar's left. It is your duty to those living on the shores, mine only to the scrolls and to judgment. Tyrael, your knights and his friends fight for you, for us. We cannot abandon them to the darkness, or to the malice of Volnar. Yeah, Varus bows and kisses the hand of Tyrael, who's sitting on the throne to the right. I do feel great pain for the mortals. They are suffering. But if we react, don't you think Volnar will What is going on with me today?
Retaliate.
Don't you think Volnar would retaliate even more so? Tyrael, taking the form of a pale-skinned, blonde-haired, middle-aged woman with a long, flowing, silvery white dress and an icy blue scarf. So, like, imagine White Witch vibes, but, like,
Sounds
not
like
evil.
Elsa.
Older Elsa,
Yeah.
White Witch vibes, not evil.
Gotcha.
Ragnar, Palor, please, let me help them, Varus pleads. Or I will involve myself without your assistance or allowance. I choose to let the events play out as the scrolls will predict. Ragnar stands from his throne. Do what you must, Watcher of the Seas and Skies. Ragnar bows to the other Celestials and exits the room. Arcanos slowly stands and bows, following Ragnar. Angor scoffs. Varus, you are too soft. As you are too cruel. Angor scowls and takes a breath as if, as you were going to say something, but instead he storms out the front door of the temple. Varus then turns to Palor and Tyrael. Will you help me? I cannot get involved, but I will try my best, Palor bows. Tell the Ede Newell that They know. Varus interrupts. Tyrael, my offsprings are divided. I will rally them to your cause. Tyrael bows. The dream is then obscured in the veil as the morning dawns to a new day. Does anyone want to do anything with their morning?
When
Yes.
So I heard both Liam and Nate, so we'll go with Liam first.
when Alduin gets out of bed, he immediately starts working on a life-size statue of Ari. Okay.
Amazing. Nate, you wanted to do something.
Yeah. I'm going to go. I'm gonna go into. Is it all right if I do the thing right now?
No, I need to talk to you about that before we can solidify anything. I can't just randomly throw that in right now.
Okay. Yeah, Jonathan is just going to go out to the training grounds with Peter and practice some more moves and refine the ones that they've learned already.
Roll me a performance check for Peter. And
Oh no.
roll me a
Yes, sir. Peter has a fucking has a -1 to charisma.
He's just not a charismatic boy, that's all.
Okay.
He's a good boy. He's just got an ugly
No,
mug.
he wasn't. He's just not.
He's an introvert.
He's just ugly.
Yeah.
He
That's
knows
not
Just
his
got a
fault.
face of Jonathan could love.
Okay, so that's a 31 for handle animal, and that is a 10 for Peter on performance.
As you're training with Peter, you are training. You trained a few tricks, but his energy seems like he wanted to train for a few more combat moves. And after training for a couple hours, he feels a lot more apt in combat. As he even a few times you having to use your vambraces to dodge and to intercept a few of his bite attacks as he got a little bit too excitable. But you feel confident that Peter is becoming a very skilled fighter and young adolescent Griffin.
Hell yeah.
He's been growing by the day as he's almost now even sitting on his four legs, almost taller than you.
Big boy.
Man, you're growing, Peter. You really are. You know, I've ever since that day, I've watched you from being the tiniest of cubs to almost being taller than me, for fuck's sake. So
As you open up your heart, Peter kind of takes advantage of you being off guard, and he headbutts you in the chest as you follow the ground as he tackles on top of you and begins to just lick your face.
oh jeez. All right, buddy. You got me.
I think, well, these training grounds are available. I think Tobin would probably also make his way there. As long as, are you done with that bit, Jonathan, or is there more you wanted to do?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm done with that bit.
So as you guys are wrapping up, you'll see Tobin make his way into the yard, and he's gonna, strap on all his armor and draw a sword, and he's just gonna, thinking back on the fear he felt when the Everdark was like summoned in his like humanoidish form. Thinking back to that, he's just gonna like focus up and just like, not in like an angry way, but like in like a very, like very intent way. He's gonna like train with like just some basic sword stuff, evolving into like working on summoning his spells into his blade, and just really going for it.
Yeah, you're so focused. Your mind, just the energy that you're producing, in your training, the ferocity, the you train for a while, and you entered the training grounds kind of later into Jonathan's training with Peter, and as Peter and Jonathan have traveled off, you've continued your training, and as you finally take a thrust forward as you expel magical essence from your blade. Out of breath, you take a breath for a moment, and you look beneath you as you see you've somehow turned the ground beneath you into ice.
Yeah, catching his breath and realizing how intently he was focusing, not even realizing that he basically made an ice rink out of the training area. He's going to slowly catch his breath and be like, better call it a day there. It's probably more than enough as he inspects the ice a little bit more and looks at some of the dummies he dummied. And he'll just sheath his sword and go clean himself up, like drenched in sweat and whatnot.
Yeah, as you decided the training is done for the day, you look up and around you and see Gwaine in his now polished pearly white armor, looking over you as you train, with his sword planted into the ground, his hands resting on it. You, out of breath, go to clean yourself off, and as you leave, you see that Gwaine has then left and no longer around the area.
Yeah, that's all I really wanted to do.
So, anyone else have anything that they want to do to spend their morning?
I could still chill in her room. She just doesn't feel like being social. Everyone keeps bugging her anyway.
I'm going to need to get back aboard the ship in order to deal with the djinn later.
Well, if that's all the Ed now will plan to spend their morning, then I think we're going to call this episode a little bit early.
Hey,
That was a lot of fun. That was a great episode.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. As far as inspiration points, I'm gonna give a point to everybody. Everybody did phenomenal. You all get an inspiration point. You guys did great. You did phenomenal. Super proud of everyone this session. It was really fun. If you made it this far, thank you very much for listening. Remember to like and subscribe. We're on Spotify. Please rate us on there. Gets us more attention. Of course, we've been drunk, we've been dumb. That's all I gotta say.
Bye. Have a great time.